all a very warm welcome on behalf of Oriental School of Law, who has clubbed all of us for the seminar on legal aspects of lockdown and the consequences of not following it. I, Anamika Singh, Assistant Professor, Oriental School of Law, along with Miss Anamika Singh Chauhan, Assistant Professor, Oriental School of Law, and Miss Varalika Srivastav, Assistant Professor, Oriental School of Law, welcome all the dignitary, faculty members, and dear students. As you all know, that we are suffering with dangerous coronavirus. As a result, we face complete lockdown in our country. Today, we discuss about the legal provisions and laws related to quarantine and lockdown and what will be the consequences of not obeying such laws.
We will also discuss about the constitutional validity of lockdown, as staying inside our homes makes us think about our fundamental right to freedom, which is provided to us under Article 19 of the Constitution. We will learn how this infringement of our fundamental right of freedom is legal, and also about the power of government to make laws in relation to lockdown.
Besides this, we shall also talk rule or negligently does any act which is likely to spread the infectious disease.
I have an announcement. This meeting automatically ends after 40 minutes. So in case it happens, everybody rejoin with the same link. सभी लोग ये जो मीटिंग है वो 40 मिनट के बाद अपने आप ही खत्म हो जाती है, तो सेम लिंक जो आपको प्रोवाइड की गई है उससे रिजॉइन करें. And now let us start the presentation.
As the country is facing lockdown on account of pandemic COVID-19, it has been observed that there is lack of awareness amongst the people regarding legal provisions relating to the lockdown. There are certain laws and rules made by the government to regulate the situation and maintain the law and order in the country. This presentation aims to aware all of you with those laws and regulations and the consequences of not obeying them. Coronavirus are a large family of viruses which may cause illness in animals or humans. In humans, several viruses are known to cause respiratory infections ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases such as Middle East Respiratory Syndrome (MERS) and Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome (SARS). As per WHO, most of the people get mild to moderate respiratory illness, but older people or with the medical problem are more likely to develop serious illness. On 31st December 2019, WHO was informed of a cluster of cases of pneumonia of unknown causes detected in Wuhan city, Hubei province of China. This coronavirus disease, COVID-19, was identified as the causative virus of Chinese authorities on 7th January. As part of WHO's response, the R&D blueprint has been activated to accelerate diagnostic vaccines and therapeutics for this novel coronavirus. On 11th March 2020, WHO declared the novel coronavirus disease outbreak as a pandemic. The Union government has invoked the power under Epidemic Disease Act 1897 to enhance the preparedness and containment of virus and declared COVID-19 a notified disaster under the Disaster Management Act 2005. To prevent the transmission of COVID-19 pandemic, the Union government declared the first phase of country-wide lockdown from 24th of March to 14th April 2020, and second phase from 15th April to 3rd May 2020. The third phase starts from 4th May 2020 to 17th May 2020. As a precautionary measures, as a precautionary measure, district magistrates have imposed the prohibitory orders under Section 144 of Criminal Procedure Code 1973 is several districts to curb the transmission.
Now, let us understand lockdown and curfew. We have been hearing these terms, lockdown and curfew, which though sound similar but are not the same. Lockdown, it means a state of isolation or restricted access instituted as a security measure. The object of lockdown is to restrict the movement. A lockdown is a long-term measure requiring the closure of public establishments in order to restrict the large-scale movement of the people while allowing them to access essential services. On the other hand, curfew is an order restraining the people to go out of their houses or staying off the streets for a specified time period. Example, to prevent riots, strikes, bunds, and protests. The object of curfew is to maintain law and order by keeping the people indoors. The major difference between the two is that the essential services continue to operate in a lockdown and people may get out of their homes to access such services. Moreover, a lockdown need not to relate to law and order problems only. Thus, a lockdown is less restrictive than a curfew. Let us see the constitutional validity of the lockdown. The state has power to order such a lockdown if it benefits the public at large. The right to life guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution is most important fundamental right. Without life, there cannot be any liberty. Thus, it paves the way for all other rights to exist. The Honorable Supreme Court in State of Punjab versus MS Chawla has interpreted Article 21 in a broad manner, stating that right to health is an integral part of right to life. The government has a constitutional obligation to provide health facilities. Thus, the state has a positive obligation under Article 21 of the Constitution to protect the public health and lives of its people from the present pandemic. Lockdown is valid even though it restricts our right to freedom as given under Article 19 of the Constitution, because Article 19 is subject to reasonable restrictions such as public order, morality, interest of general public, etc. And right to life supersedes over any other fundamental right. Let us discuss the power to make laws. Public health falls under the entry number 6 of the state list, giving the states the power to legislate on all the matters concerning the public health within its jurisdiction. Meanwhile, the entry number 81 of the union list allows the center to make laws on interstate quarantine and quarantine of ports and ships. Accordingly, Section 2 of the Epidemics Disease Act 1897 provides states with the power to take all necessary measures to contain an epidemic, while Section 2A empowers the center to take measures for the inspection and detention of ships.
Now we will go through the penal provisions. There has been provided 5 acts under which any person shall be punished if any act shall be done by him in contravention of the lockdown. These acts are Indian Penal Code 1860, Criminal Procedure Code 1973, Epidemic Diseases Act 1897, Disaster Management Act 2005, Essential Services Maintenance Act 1968. Now we will discuss the penal provisions under the Indian Penal Code. Any person shall be punished with imprisonment of 6 months or with fine up to 2,000 rupees or with both under Section 188 of the Act when any person disobeys the order promulgated by the public servant considering the human life, health or safety. Any person shall be punished with a with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months or with fine or with both under section 269 of the act if he negligently does any act which likely to spread infection of disease dangerous to life. Any person shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 2 years or with fine or with both under section 270 of the act when any person maligent does any act which likely to spread infection of disease dangerous to life. Whoever disobey the quarantine rule under section 271 shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months or with fine or with both.
Section 1, Section 144 of CRPC deal with the power of district magistrate, subdivisional magistrate, or any other executive magistrate to pass the written order. Written order if such magistrate considers that such direction is likely to prevent or tend to prevent obstructions, annoyance, or injury to any person lawfully employed or danger to human life, health, or safety, or a disturbance of the public tranquility, or a riot, or an affray. This section also empowered the magistrate to evoke order to restrict the public gatherings. When such an order is issued, an assembly of 5 or more than 5 persons is termed as unlawful assembly. Section 143 of IPC penalized a person being the member of unlawful assembly with an imprisonment up to 6 months or with fine or both. Now we will discuss Epidemic Disease Act 1987. This act was first enacted to tackle bubonic plague in Mumbai. The object of this act to provide for the better prevention of the spread of dangerous epidemic diseases. The act has been routinely used to contain various diseases in India, such as swine flu, cholera, malaria, and dengue. In March 2020, it is being enforced across the India in order to limit the spread of coronavirus. Section 3 of this act provides that any person disobeying any regulation or order made under this act shall be deemed to have committed an offence punishable under section 188 of Indian Penal Code. Section 4 provides the protection to the person acting in good faith under this act from any suit or any other legal proceeding.
Now, let us discuss the provisions of Disaster Management Act 2005. To curb its deadly spread, the government has invoked the Disaster Management Act of 2005 and permitted various government authorities to take measures to effectively enforce social distancing. The act was legislated under the head of social security, and the act defines the term disaster broadly, and it includes within its ambit a grave occurrence in any area arising from natural or man-made causes by accident or negligence which result in substantial loss of life or human suffering. Further, the occurrence must be of such a nature or magnitude as to be beyond the coping capacity of the community of the affected area. The Prime Minister, being the ex officio chairman of the National Disaster Management Authority, has the power under Section 6 of the Act to make measures for the prevention and mitigation of the disaster. Using this power, the NDMA has permitted various different authorities to take measures to contain the spread of the virus. The guidelines for social distancing have been specially issued under Section 10 of the Act by the National Executive Committee, which is constituted under the Act to assist the NDMA in its efforts. The Act provides for the penalties with the imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year or with fine or with both, and if such an obstruction or refusal to comply with the directions result in loss of life or imminent danger thereof, shall on the conviction be punishable with an imprisonment which may extend to 2 years.
Now we shall discuss the provisions provided under the Essential Services Maintenance Act 1968. Madhya Pradesh government invoked the Essential Services Maintenance Act on 8th of March 2020 to tackle coronavirus spread. The act aims to provide for the maintenance of certain essential services and normal life of the community. It includes petroleum, coal, power, food grain, banking as essential services. It declares strikes of certain services as illegal. It punishes any person who commits a strike which is illegal under this act or goes or remains on or otherwise take parts in. Any such strike shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months or with fine which may extend to 200 rupees or with both. Section 7 of the Act empowers the police officer to arrest without warrant any person who is reasonably suspected of having committed any offense under this Act. As now we all are aware of the legal provisions and the consequences of not obeying them, it is a humble request from all the members of the Oriental School of Law to follow the rules and orders of the lockdown. Try to help poor and needy while staying inside your house. Feed animals and birds by simply keeping a bowl of food and water outside your house. The whole country is fighting this pandemic and needs our support. We can help a lot by just staying inside the house. Now, I would like to conclude this session by just saying that everyone please stay home and stay safe.
Thanks everybody to listen us very carefully. Thank you so much for joining this session. Hope this session is very beneficial for all of us.
Very
Madam,
true.
And we would like, Hanji, I was just to say, if somebody is having any doubt, they can ask us. We're here to help. If somebody is having any doubt, अगर किसी को कोई doubts हैं, तो आप पूछ सकते हैं.
Madam, I have one question. Hello.
Yes, sir, you can
Please
ask.
continue.
I have seen in the green hospital declared by the government, the doctors are not available. In that case, what as a customer or a patient we can report this matter and where we should report such type of a matter?
I would like to say that Section 166 of the IPC provides कोई भी public officer is under the obligation to perform the public functions. If in case any public officer, including police or hospital, does not do its function, we can file an FIR because it's a cognizable offense, and we can go to the police station and complain regarding the same, and the action shall be taken.
Hello, madam. Hello.
Haan, sir,
Hello.
boliye.
There is one ordinance also has been brought about recently. What that ordinance
Yes,
has
sir.
effect? Hello.
See, the recent ordinance has been issued because it has been seen कि बहुत सारे लोग are not cooperating with the people who are fighting to prevent the spread of the disease, the people from the hospital or people from the police department. So the public is not cooperating them. So in order to punish such acts of public, such disobedience, a new ordinance has been passed, and that ordinance penalizes every act of the person of disobedience. अगर आप कोई भी ऐसा काम करते हो जो क्वारंटीन रूल या लॉकडाउन को डिसोबे करता है, तो जो पहले के बने हुए लॉज हैं वो तो हैं ही, साथ में एक रीसेंट ऑर्डिनेंस लाई गई है जिससे ये किया गया है कि आपको इंस्टेंटली एक बहुत हायर पनिशमेंट